In order to start understanding brioche stitch, we're just going to start learning it together. Knit along with me, and I'm going to explain to you the abbreviations and everything you need to know as we do it. I think that's going to be the easiest way to get a good feel for this strange new technique called brioche. To start out with, I've got some worsted weight yarn to practice on, and this is a size 9 needle, which is nice and large. This is just for the cast on. It's really important that you use a larger needle for the cast on because brioche is going to, like, from your cast on like this, it's going to, like, spread out like that. So the cast on needs to be nice and stretchy as well. We're going to cast on 12 stitches to start out with, using a long tail cast on. Nice and even, not too tight at all. Alright, let's see how many that is. 5, 10, 12. Oh, that is good. Okay. Alright, now what we're going to need to do is a setup row. And this is what it looks like. The setup row consists of a repetition of 2 movements. I'm going to show you continental style and then I'll show you American style. But first, let's cut this tail just so that it doesn't get confusing, right? That's always a good idea. Okay. The instructions go like this. Yarn forward, slip 1 yarn over. This is one movement and this is what it looks like. The yarn comes in front of the right hand needle, and now I'm using a regular size needle for this worsted weight yarn. I use pretty small needles. This is a 5, you may use a 7 or something like that, but it's good to go down at least 1 needle size, so you may want to try on a 6 or something like that because the fabric does get pretty big. Okay, so with the yarn in front, we're going to slip this first stitch. Like that. Slip 1, yarn over. We're going to end up with a stitch that looks like this. Okay? We'll be careful there because we've got our cast on edge there. So that is a yarn front, slip 1, yarn over. And then we're just going to knit 1. Like that. So the yarn has to come back to the back. Okay. And next the yarn comes back to the front. We slip 1 and do a yarn over at the same time. Take that off. See how I caught that yarn over like this? The only difference between a slip 1 and a yarn forward slip 1 yarn over is this. That's a yarn forward slip 1. This is a yarn forward slip 1 yarn over. We'll talk more about these little yarn overs. So we're going to knit 1, yarn forward, slip 1, yarn over, which just means bring it back to the back, and knit 1. American style, oops. American style, this looks like yarn forward, slip 1, yarn over, this means bring it back to the back again. It's pretty much in the back, and knit 1. You'll notice that each slip stitch, there we go, has a little yarn over next to it, just like that. Yarn forward, slip 1 yarn over. So I'm not even really doing anything. I'm just keeping the yarn in the back for when I do my knit stitch. And it automatically makes the yarn over when I'm doing American style. Slip the last one, and we're going to knit the last stitch. Alright, the setup row is complete. Now you'll want both of your regular size needles. We are going to start to take a look at brioche knitting. To do 1 row of basic brioche knitting, it's going to be pretty similar to what we just did, but we've got the added abbreviation of a BR/K, which I pronounce brioche knit. That's what it stands for. So this is what it looks like. We're going to do the yarn forward, slip 1, yarn over, again, just like that, and then a brioche knit. Brioche knit just means knitting this stitch right here together with the yarn over that's right next to it, like that. Just like that. That's a brioche knit. And you can see that it makes this cool, the yarn over goes back behind the knit stitch, and it's going to make this really cool design. Okay, we repeat that all the way down. Yarn forward, slip, yarn comes back to the back to make the yarn over, and because we're going to knit, then brioche knit. So that slip stitch with its yarn over, it should be right over the top of it, just like that. Like this. Another brioche knit. Yarn forward, slip one yarn over, like that. And you can see that if you're a continental style knitter, this is going to be pretty easy. There's some forward back going on. That's pretty easy for continental knitting. Okay, and brioche knit. Those two right there. In brioche knitting, the stitch like this is actually one stitch. This is a brioche knit stitch right there. There's a knit stitch with its yarn over. Let's keep going. This is American style, moving the yarn to the front. Slip it, the yarn's already in back to make that yarn over, and brioche knit. Yarn comes to the front, slip, and brioche knit the last two stitches, or the last stitch with its yarn over. There we go. It's going to take a little while for the pattern to emerge, so let's keep going. We're going to do the same thing. The simplest brioche knit is just one row after the other, starting with just the same sequence. Yarn forward, slip one yarn over, and a brioche knit. Just this pair right here. I'm going to speed up a little bit. I'm going to do this whole row continental style, and then I'll do the whole next row American style, just to show that you can get into a nice little rhythm. Like that. See how I'm using my fingers always to control these stitches? I'm not going to leave them scrunched up like that. I'm going to use my fingers always to keep good control over all these yarn overs. Just get that right out of the way. And brioche knit the last stitch with its yarn over. This is going to result in a beautiful reversible fabric. That's going to be really lovely. Alright. Let's do one row American style. Tension the yarn. We've got it already in front to begin with. And slip, brioche knit. So basic brioche really is as simple as this. It's a combination of slipping and knitting, making sure that you move that yarn to the front before every slipped stitch. And slip. And I'm going to show you how to be able to read your work in case you get confused ever. It's going to be easy for you to know where you are and what you need to do. But this right here is pretty much it. Let's do a few more rows. There we go. Let's do a few more rows and see what it looks like. Meet me after you do about 4 more rows.